Hello and welcome to a special edition Slick WIlly fly. So today, it's a little bit of a sad day. We're gonna make a fly to honor the late great Jimmy Buffett. So here's to you, Jimmy. Hope you're having a hamburger in paradise. And what I decided to do, I said to myself, let's make a very typical Florida Keys fly. And then let's use some colors that I can associate with Jimmy Buffett. So what I'm going to make is a version of what you see here, which is a Crazy Charlie. And the Crazy Charlie I make in a lot of different colors. Here's another Crazy Charlie. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a Crazy Charlie using some lime green. And we're going to actually call it, for Jimmy, we're going to call it a Margaritaville Charlie instead of a Crazy Charlie. So let's get in on it. I'm going to put a size 4 saltwater hook in device. And we're going to use some bead chain eyes. I'm going to use white thread. I'm going to use pearl for the body. And I'm going to use lime green for the wing. So I'm going to go ahead and use some white thread, which I think will be fine for this fly. I'm using medium-sized bead chain eyes. They don't really, I mean, you could get away with large. I think you can even get away with smalls. Really, the only thing that the bead chain eyes need to do is that they need to be heavy enough so that this fly rides hook up. So I'm going to put the bead chain about 1/3 of the length away from the eye. That looks about right. So I'm just going to come in with some X wraps. Now I'm going to make sure that they're centered. They look great. And once they're centered and they look pretty good and nice and hard, then I'm going to come in with figure 8s under the bead over the hook, and that draws everything nice and tight. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of zap, like I always do, and I'm going to put a drop of zap on that bead chain. So I don't want that to ever move. Then I'm going to run my thread back, and I'm going to give it a few more X wraps, because that will drive that zap deep into my thread. Couple more figure 8s, and now I know that those eyes aren't going anywhere. So now I'm going to run my thread. I'm going to go a little bit, say just before the bend of the hook. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a little bit of 20-pound mono. And I just use regular and the 20-pound mono. I'm not doing anything special here. And it's kind of an old spool. Don't know if I would trust this so much, but for fishing. But I definitely trust it for fly tying. And I'm going to use this Andy to wrap up the body. And it's going to make the body really tough. So I just go ahead and tie it onto the side of the hook. Bring back my thread. Now this time I'm going to bring the thread, I'm going to actually start it where the hook starts to bend. And now I got to make sure I get my mono out of the way. Okay, so for the body, I'm going to use some SLF and pearl. And I think that this SLF and pearl is going to look really great for this fly. So I'm going to put a little wax on my thread to make my life a little easier. And this dubbing, I want to put it on thin and tight. You can use braid, you can use almost anything that will give this this nice little flash effect. There are lots of braids that do it just as easily. But we're going to use SLF. And what I'm going to do is, on almost every single wrap, I'm going to tighten the dubbing. Because I really want the dubbing to go on tight. Gotta watch that hook point. Clearly I need a little more. You don't need to do a lot at a time. Just take your time. We're gonna dub all the way up to the back of the B chain. I'll put just a little more. You know, Jimmy was, I think I heard he was 76, and they didn't give a cause of death, but they said that he had been in the hospital. So it's a shame. 76 doesn't sound so old anymore. But man, he was a big part of all our lives growing up. We loved his music growing up in South Florida. So I'm sure it wasn't just us in South Florida. He was very popular. So now I'm going to take my mono and I'm going to go in the same direction as my thread, or as my dubbing. And all I'm trying to do is get the mono up against itself, which is going to make it look like a segmented body. But it's also going to make this dubbing nice and tough. So I'm just taking my time and wrapping it, keeping it touching as best as I can. I know that that has to be difficult to see in this camera because it's white and clear. But I'm just keeping it nice and tight against each wrap, working my way up to the bead chain eyes. And once I get to the bead chain, I'm actually going to go over the bead chain. And I'm almost there now. One more turn. Alright, so I'm going to go over the bead chain. And then I'm going to capture it with my thread. And once you've captured it, you feel good that you've captured it, you can cut off this tag. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of crystal flash, and I'm going to use gold. Actually, maybe I put the wing on before the crystal flash. I think I will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a little bit of rubber legs. I'll do the rubber legs before the wing. And I just want to give this fly as much action as possible. So I'm using this pearl silly legs. And I have to decide whether I want to do just one silly leg or two silly legs. I actually love silly legs. I think that that they really make the fish go bananas. So I think I'm going to put 2 on each side. So what I did was I cut the entire leg in half, and now I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the hook on my side. Now remember, when you do this, if you notice, I went kind of under the eye, because the this fly will ride hook up. So it's important that you remember that the wing is actually going to go down. So now I'm going to do the opposite side. Nice. I like the way that looks. Beautiful. I'm actually going to invert the hook in my vise. Make it a lot easier to finish this fly. Okay, so the next step is the wing. I'm going to go ahead and use this Chartreusse or margarita colored deer hair. And this is a really cool color because it's got this little, it's a blend, Chartreuse and brown. I really like it a lot. And I think it's going to look great. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it in the stacker, which I don't normally do, but they're very, very different lengths going on here. I think it's going to look a lot better if we stack it. You know, I don't have a large stacker. I have this smaller stacker. So I've learned a lot of times it's a lot easier for me if I put it in reverse. But that's just a little trick that helps me. So now I'm going to stack. Okay. That looks good. I like it. So now the wing doesn't need to be super long. I'm going to remove any of these crazy wild ones. The wing needs to be about right there is actually the wing. That's actually perfect. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut this off diagonally. So that will help me attach the wing. A little bit more clean. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the hook just like I had it. A couple of turns like I normally do. A turn behind the eye. You gotta be careful not to grab the silly leg. When you go behind the eye, you can't go behind both eyes. Never go behind both eyes. Now we're going to go a turn behind the opposite side eye. And now I could say that we have captured that wing. Bring it nice and tight. Oh, wow. My thread just broke. That's not good. But we're not going to panic. We're going to make a great save here. Yes. And we have a good save. Okay. So now I'm going to take my scissor and I'm going to just clean up a little Don't have to clean up a lot. Be careful you don't cut your thread. But if you clean this up a little, it will make the knot that much nicer. So the last step is a little bit of crystal flash. And I'm going to use gold crystal flash. I have to cut away that thread. This was a piece from the one that broke off. There we go. I'm going to put, I think, a couple of pieces on both sides. Now I can bring it to the opposite side. Actually, it might be easier just to trim it and rotate. Okay, so we ended up with 3 pieces of flash, so I don't have any more. So now I'm just going to clean up this knot, as you see right there, and put a whip finish in this fly. And one more little whip finish. So this is actually the Slick WIlly Crazy Charlie. But we are doing it in, something is wrong with that thread, I have to check that. We are doing it in a Jimmy Buffett honor memorial. So this particular cutter pattern, I'm going to name my Margarita Charlie. And I think it looks great. The only thing I'm going to do now is give it a little UV resin. Little UV resin, and then I'll show it to you nice and close up. I'm only putting UV resin on the knot, and not very much at all. Now I'm going to let gravity do its thing a little. Make sure that there's no resin in that hole. That's important. Okay, that looks good. All those little hairs you see there, I have a little trick for getting rid of those, which I will show you. But that body looks awesome. This little fly is gonna glow. And one day I'm gonna take this out on a flat in Florida, catching redfish or bonefish or permit, and I will be thinking of Jimmy Buffett. Maybe I'll have some of his music playing, because we are fans in the family. And we're just, sad that he's gone, but hope that he's in a happy place. And there it is. One Crazy Charlie, Margarita Crazy Charlie. And this fly is actually going to swim like that. It will swim hook side up. And I think that those little legs are going to have a huge impact. I don't always put legs on them. Here's a more traditional, I have to put one down. Here's a more traditional Crazy Charlie that I tied earlier. and this was obviously in the browns, and I give it this bar on, this is actually very cool. I didn't use deer hair. In this fly I used squirrel fur, and I used a marker to bar the fur, make it look very crustacean. But we do those, and here's another one in a little bit different color where I did use rubber legs and crystal flash. So, you know, it's only a matter of having your imagination and having fun and enjoying what you're doing. Here's another one. Rubber legs, a little lime green, chartreuse green head. You know, they're all good. They all work. They all work on any given day. But there it is, the Jimmy Buffett Margarita Charlie. We're going to call this the Margarita Charlie. Rest in peace. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.